So, namaste to everyone. We are ready. Oh, Stephen and Sam are together. Very good. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Have you seen that anyone who is introduced to the Eastern wisdom, they have to recite the Om Shanti 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 in the same way? And at least one thing is very common. They close their eyes and they sit comfortably. Why? Think of it. I'm just moving in a lighter note on this Saturday's session, and gradually we will again pick up the pace. Why? Can you convert this Om Shanti 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 like a rap song? Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. You cannot do it. You cannot do it. Anywhere and everywhere, you see the same. No, close your eyes and then let us chant together Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. You cannot change. We have many remix songs. It is not possible. Why it is not possible? It is an absolute knowledge. It is an absolute knowledge. Once your mind simply follows the knowledge passed on to us by our masters, you simply follow the knowledge and see what happens. Everything will fall into the right place. That is very important. But what happens? We have a lot of doubts, we have a lot of conflicts and confusion. Sam is a young guy, he may convert this Om Shanti Shanti into a rap music. Not possible. It will not work. It will not work. Do you see that? That is very important to understand. Their contribution, our master's contribution, is so great. And we have a lot of doubts about it. We should raise the doubt. I will talk about it. Knowledge, reasoning plus experience should go together. If we follow a logic which opposes my experience, my level of awareness, that is not Eastern wisdom. That is not at all Eastern wisdom. So you have to follow the right reasoning in order for a clarity and conviction, and then you know that you are already there. That easy is the tradition of the Eastern wisdom. Yeah, I was just talking about contribution. No, I'm not giving a class like a rap one, so you should. You have heard me, and those people who have taken that I have criticized Elon Musk or Bill Gates, I have been talking a lot about it, that he lived loveless life for 27 years. No, it's not a criticism. That you do not follow the line of the Eastern wisdom. We have to compare. We have to understand. We have to put the logic. There is nothing like, I have to criticize. Why should I criticize? This is not my business. To open up, to clear one concept and the principle, we talk about it, that the Bill Gates did not find the love inside. That is why he lived loveless life. So it's a critical evaluation. Understand this. Some people mistake it, I'm doing this and so you are criticizing, and then Jerry knows, I'm picking up that understanding and that idea. Now, how the Eastern wisdom perceives the success of Elon Musk and Bill Gates, we have also to analyze it. Do you want to analyze it? Oh yes, I also want to be successful like Elon Musk. Sam has an idea. Huh? He's young. Now see that what Bill Gates did, his intention was eradication of malaria almost 20 years ago. And almost the malaria is wiped out. So think of his contribution. He became a contributor. Leave aside all other things, whether you like him, whether you love him or hate him, it doesn't make any difference. But do you see the silent contribution that he made? We teachers, or when you follow the path of Eastern wisdom, you see a person as a whole. You don't see a pointed thing. No, you don't see a part of it. So now I'm just opening up. I see the contribution. I read about him, eradication of malaria, eradication of some, he worked a lot on, what is that, AIDS. Can you think of it? Now see that this can be understood. What about Elon Musk? Can you think of it? So our masters speaks about that you have to look in what way a person is contributing. If you want to know how a person is successful, so-called successful in the material world, how he or she is successful. Do you know about climate change? Now know that number of vehicles, electric vehicles have been purchased by the people, and then there is almost, during the last 5 years, there is a revolution of electrical vehicles, EVs. Is it not reducing the carbon footprint? Is it not the contribution of Elon Musk? Leave him. He is the richest guy. That is another part. Because our mind always tries to perceive a person as a consumer. In spite of everything is wrong about Elon Musk, but his contribution, his silent contribution to bringing about down carbon footprint down. Now come to your house. Say, for example, your dad is crazy, you remain calm. Is it not your contribution? Is it not your contribution? Think, my friends, that is going to make you a great seeker. The moment I received the email from the Casey and the Jerry that will have a seminar, I never looked for the price. I said, no, let me do it, but let me contribute. So once I received the email and I created, just lessons. I think, Jerry, you might have received the book, and Sam, you also received the book. So you will also receive. I will also send it to Terry. Dennis has edited this book. So now see what happened. My mind was totally absorbed, how should I contribute? So let me focus on one topic, what is real self? And then I created the topics. I pulled down all my documents. It was more than 2,000 pages. And I thought, no, I will just focus on 100 pages. And it came out to be 212 pages. So if you understand the entire 2,000 pages, you have understood real self. But it is a seminar for a couple of hours. Now see another incident. So I sent the book to a couple of more people. One guy who has been attending my session, he said that I want to edit your book so that there is a correct English. I said, do it. Now then he said, I'm editing the book because I will go through the book a couple of times in order to understand it. So you are evolving and you are also contributing. If your mindset is like this, there is nothing in the world, any kind of ignorance and suffering can ever take over you. Now look at another guy. I know I don't want to name that. I requested a person, he or she, I forget about that. No, I'm very busy, and that person showed the ego, and I said, okay, that is okay. I will continue to do my work. So you lost an opportunity. You lost an opportunity. I have to change my mindset. Some people write to me, I cannot pay, don't pay. And I know for the last 20, almost 40 years, sometimes I make a mistake, sometimes I say, okay, don't pay it, and then they create a problem. Even in the session, it happens. I also make a mistake. It's okay, it's a part of the life. You take it. And then other people, you get reward in terms of other people, you get an unexpected contribution. In terms of even finances, in terms of, at least you are not suffering because of you have not charged everyone. Some people pay you much more than expected. Now they are contributing, so it means they will also be benefited. I told you an example of Elon Musk. It's just a subtle benefit that you get. You change your mindset, your way of thinking and speaking and working in the world changes your life. What is this? This is the purification of the mind. If we don't purify the mind, it is not going to work. Do whatever you want to do. So, do I have some jealousy or hatred against the person who said, I am very busy, okay, you send me, I will look into it. The seminar is on 18th. How can you say that? Are you getting it? There is a subtle level of benefit that you get which cannot be compared with the amount of money you give or you take from the people. There is no way you can call. If you understand this, and if you start working in your life, changing your attitude of becoming a great contributor, the mind is already purified. And that is why what we say, consistent, regular listening and learning, contemplation and reflection is required. And one day you will find, oh, you are already there. Now you enjoy that. And you continue the journey. You continue the journey. Come to the main point of our, so in the background, that attitude should be there. I feel, what do I feel when I'm giving a lesson? I'm learning. I'm learning. I have an intention that I'm contributing. I'm passing this knowledge to everyone. Your every action intent is as a contributor. Your mind is already pure. You have a full of energy. In any way you contribute. I've given you a couple of examples. Why I said so? We can intellectually understand any principle, but when you become a contributor, you really experience what is happening inside you. Your mind becomes subtle. You can pick up those subtle states of the consciousness. That is the goal. Understanding by intellect and experience by the mind should go together. And it can only happen when the mind is pure, then it will work. Because then the intellectual clarity and conviction will descend into the mind, will result into an experience that I am the real self. Otherwise, we fall into the intellectual fantasy. It has to go both ways. So the last week on Saturday, I'm summarizing that verse recommends having faith in one's experience, but at the same time subjecting them to rational reflection and guidance of the principles of the Eastern wisdom. It will happen. Everyone can reach to that state. Logic, reasoning should be applied to make sense of my experience. What is my experience? Mirage water. Now I approach logically. Let me find out. Oh, there is a water. Let me find out. I go closer, and it disappears. Now I have a new experience, a new level of awareness. Can I take it in a different way? One is crazy over you. You go closer internally. Don't go closer physically, otherwise they will slap you. Internally you are aware of that. And then you recognize you have not met the expectations of him and her, and that is why he or she is angry. Now you have a choice. Now you have an option. Do you see that? That is the way to work with the subtler consciousness. So you see now you see reasoning plus experience should go together. It is not a dry intellectual knowledge. Not at all. It will not work. Now I have understood it, but I don't change my behavior and attitude. It will not work at all. It will not work. My level of ego should go down. I should find out the delusion. I gave an example. These two examples go together. Mirage water and person is upset over you. Do you see that? So that being upset is a delusion. Once you recognize that, you are not upset. One is angry over you, you are not upset. One is blaming you, you are not upset. You live into that state of awareness. That is going to change you. Why? Now ask your why. That is the subject matter of Saturday's session, because our intrinsic nature, our essential nature cannot change. Our outer nature can change. I can change my behavior and attitude. I can change the way I speak. I can be angry. I can be upset. I can be crazy. But intrinsic nature, what is that intrinsic nature? My real self, of the nature of peace and happiness, love and wisdom, that cannot change at all. And that is the discovery. Now how can you say, I have given that example many a times. The sweetness of a sugar does not change. Whether you mix the sugar into a water, put the lemon into it, put into the tea or a coffee or a dessert or an ice cream or a candy. You see the super outer nature? Extrinsic nature? Outer nature is different. Outer nature of the sugar is different. Candy, ice cream, coffee, tea, lemon. But the sweetness never changes. So we are putting logically. So we have to experience that even, my behavior and attitude changes, and still, do I have that essential nature in me? And that is what the real self is. That is the discovery. That is what we are doing. So on Saturday's session, we go to extra, or you can say supra-intellectual reasoning. But if it doesn't coincide with your experience, why it doesn't coincide? Impurity of the mind. Why? You are a consumer. You are not a contributor. I believe you might be getting. Logical analysis alone is insufficient to provide full comprehension of the topic. Without direct subjective experience as a basis, logic can only grasp the surface, but cannot reveal the depth of experiential understanding. So if you remember, the both should go together. Then you are a great seeker. And then the journey will help you to approach very near to this knowledge. Why I say so? Because there are a couple of more intricate reasoning is coming by this master. That is why I am bringing this topic. Knowledge is incomplete without reasoning. Understand this. And experience is false without reasoning. That is the beauty of the teaching of these masters. Experience is false without reasoning. This is a mirror's water. This is my experience. Now I don't put a reason whether this is a valid experience or not. I have to apply a logic. I have to go near. Today my mood is upset. You are not worthy of suffering. Apply this reasoning. I am not worthy of anxiety. Finished. And if you experience and the logical understanding go together, your anxiety goes away. I can bet you. It will go away instantly. And that is why I just talked about that guy who shared his or her experiences. I'm not telling you the gender. Then you have an affection like a contributor. What will happen if you die? So he or she is not dreaming of my death. But you see that your heart is totally filled with that sense of affection. Understand this. This is what happens. Internal transformation takes place. I'm just pointing you out. So the whole journey means that, I'm suffering from ignorance. Oh, so I have to apply both the intellectual logic and reasoning. That should help me to a subjective experience. I should not put those questions, small questions, unnecessary questions, which should take me away from the subjective experience. It's a very subtle area. Now you all are seekers, so you can easily understand. By reasoning and logic, you discover real self as a personal experience of the nature of peace, happiness, love, truth, and wisdom. This is the journey. Why we have incomplete knowledge or ignorance? We carry our understanding about ourselves with the name, with the form, with the designation, with the amount of possessions that we have, with the things that we have been enjoying, with the problems that we had in our life, married or divorced or have kids or do not have. We are always engaged. We always brand ourselves. This is what I am. in order to remove that ignorance, we have to apply the logic. Again, back to the same example. Mirage water. So that example of the mirage water comes very near to you because of the purification of the mind. Somebody is upset, somebody is crazy, you get crazy sometime, you instantly recognize by your subjective experience that you are not worthy of suffering, your anger calms down. How fast it happens, that depends on your level of seeking. How fast it happened. It happened to Terry. You already heard her, a couple of times, She has allowed me to speak about her. She is wonderful. So initially, she had her mind, not she is real self. So her mind complained about the maid. And then she had a realization. You see, first we put the logic and then we have an experience. What I have to do, if someone follows their own way, let them follow, what we have to do. You see, the incomplete knowledge. What do you mean by the incomplete knowledge or incomplete? It is not knowing who I am. What happens, what happens sometime, people respond to me, my dad and my mom is crazy, and I don't respond to them, or I respond to them in a different way. By understanding the Eastern wisdom is not that I have to analyze others, I have to analyze myself. I have to analyze, observe myself, how I am behaving, how I am talking. Why? I have to find the real self in me first. Then only I can see the real self in everyone. So that knowledge is mixed. I am Girish, it's not wrong, it's so false. False identity with the name, with the gender, with a lot of other stuff. So that knowledge is mixed. I have to separate it. Here is the real self and here is the empirical knowledge about me. I have to continue to use this knowledge in the world. And that is why it is taking a time. Why we have this ignorance? It's a process of evolution since our birth. We don't have a choice. We are not born. I don't know then where I will be born. I will be born with particular parents or under which circumstances or a situation I will grow and evolve. Nobody knows. I didn't have a choice. So what happens? My animal mind, due to the process of evolution, continuously adapting itself. But how it adapts? It is based on my past impressions. Someone gets upset and then you say, oh, he is crazy. It belongs to your impression in your mind. The second person says, oh, let me find out why he or she is upset. Can I change? Can I see that why she is upset over me? Let me ask. And so that I can change my behavior and attitude, if possible. Now you see, situation is the same. Your intrinsic, that, incidental, or you can say that particular event in your life, if you are aware, what you are aware, oh, let me contribute how to get rid of this, if it is possible. Sometimes people are more crazy, they don't want to listen to you. Don't let them not listen to you. Be happy. But you take an initiative. Why you take the initiative? you complete your karma. You don't create any impression in your life. Your mind remains pure. Again, this is a subtler level. Someone is upset over you, you don't get upset. That is the state. And then what happens? The mind remains purified, and the purified mind reflects the real self. How do you do it? By self-inquiry. Again, I'm saying, you do it by self-inquiry. Self-inquiry, listening and learning the principles, contemplation and reflection, and practice. Now you can say it in two words: reasoning on one hand, subjective experience on the other. Otherwise, we carry forward crazy impressions. I still remember you abused me 10 years ago. You have changed, so much. The guy has also changed. And you are still keep on thinking, carry those impressions in your life. Complete the action. Finished. Now you have an experience that you are free. That is the meaning of understanding the real self and the false self. Ego doesn't allow you to keep quiet. It keeps on burning, it keeps on raising its ego. You continue to live into that delusion. There is no need. Now it becomes very difficult for people to understand. That is why the master explains through the metaphor. Metaphor is a symbol, image, or a comparison that helps explain an unfamiliar concept vividly. Why vividly? From reasoning you go to the subjective experience. Be very clear. It's not a dry logic. Not at all a dry logic. It is full of love. It is full of, oh, I have to change myself. That is why I'm learning. That is why I'm putting a logic. That is why I want to find out the cause and effect relationship. For me, the guy who refused to edit the book, he or she, I don't want to tell you the gender, he or she think that she is the only person who can write correct English. That is the biggest problem. And the other guy who said, no, I will edit the book. I said, you edit it and I will republish it. And I'm also telling you who has received this book and who can edit. I'll be sending you to Terry also. Not to Ashok and Vaibhav, it cost me $25 more from here to India. Dennis has already a draft of this book. Come back. Metaphor removes the confusion between the real and the false self. Mahakasha, infinite space. Now having understood and remembering, keeping those principles in your mind, now think again. Infinite space. Infinite. Infinite means what? Can there be two? Infinite, there cannot be two. You have to understand in that way. Oh, infinite does not mean, we mathematical equation. No, this is dry equation. It will not work here. Infinite, there is no two. No, but then there is a part space. But at the same time, we are aware the space is one. So what do you say the part space? It is an enclosed by a part, even though the space is one. What is that space refers to? Consciousness. You see, I'm making it simple. Before next week we will go. So we have done microspace and macrospace. We have understood. Whether we say macrospace, microspace, just for the sake of convenience, for the sake of understanding. Otherwise, the space is one. Otherwise, the consciousness is one. So you see that all we individuals are a pot space. Consciousness inside that pot. Pot is the body. And one is the consciousness, infinite consciousness. We know that consciousness cannot be divided, cannot be broken into parts. Consciousness is one. Can I start talking to you with that understanding, with that experience? You see what happens. I may say I don't agree to you, but at the same time I know we all are one. What happens to your mind? Purification. Not only purification, you live into that awareness. What is that? That is awakening. Now, but awakening cannot take place until you remove that false macro and false micro. Understood? I'm just using the same metaphor. So now in the pot space, you put the water. The space never goes away. The space in the pot never goes away. Now it becomes the water space, it becomes the coffee space, it becomes the tea space. You see that? That tea space is false. That tea space is Girish, my name, my gender, my profession, and the rest of the things. That is false. Oh, I am so rich. The other guy says, then what should I do? You get insulted. You feel insulted. He's saying, what should I do? Be rich. I'm smarter than you. Be smart. The other guy says, hell with you. What happens to you now? You feel insulted. That is the water space. Are you getting it? I'm just making it very simple. That is the water space. Sometimes you approach others with the tea space, with the water space, and other people say, I'm not interested in you. You feel whole your life is wasted. That is the micro false identity. Are you getting it? Yes. And then what about the macro identity? The entire world is superimposed on that consciousness. The entire world of the name and the form, all the ideas of being rich and successful, good and the bad, they are all superimposed on the consciousness. They don't touch that consciousness. The way this body, mind, thoughts, ideas, hatred, jealousy in this individual is superimposed in the pot space, the way the entire world, the name and the form is superimposed on that, that is a macro one. We are free. Why we are free? I see the mirage water, but I know it is not true. I see the blueness of the sky. I know it is not true. It is my experience. Where? Experience inside. Cognitive ability. Cognition. What is that cognition? It's a pure consciousness. How do you say it is a pure consciousness? No, I say I'm conscious. No, you are not conscious. You are consciousness. That is why you are conscious. I'm putting a logic. You see that? Never forget. Write it down whenever you leak. I am consciousness, therefore I am conscious of you. We use it falsely. I am body, therefore I have a consciousness. Wrong. I am consciousness, therefore I have a body and the mind. Problem is solved. Are you getting it? I am sick means what? I am conscious of sickness. That is wrong. I am consciousness. Therefore, I am conscious of the body who is sick. Come on. Reject this argument. You cannot reject it. For rejection, you have to be consciousness. And that consciousness is the real self. You are awakened. See that how easy and how simple it is. I say I am father and my son is crazy. No! You are consciousness first. That is why you are conscious of your gender and the body, and you claim that you are a father. Come on, prove me wrong. Don't prove me, you can prove me wrong, but you cannot prove these masters wrong. Then what happens? Then you are flying in the world all the time. You shout, yes. You show your anger, yes, to get the things done, yes. Everything is being done, but internally you know you are consciousness, because the anger is not the nature of consciousness. But you want to get the things done, so you get the things done. It happens to you spontaneously. You need not to worry about it. It happens to you. You see from where I started and where we have reached. So we have to follow that logic. I am consciousness, hence I am conscious of you. I am conscious of this guy who is speaking like a coach and a teacher. Now reverse this. I am a teacher, why don't you listen to me? Problem is there. You see the problem is there. You have started the problem. No, after all, I am a teacher, why don't you listen to me? Logically you are right, but it's a dry logic. Do you see that? Let me tell you something. I never told anyone to get rid of their pets during the session. You have kept your pets out of the session by yourself because of your level of awareness. You have raised your level of awareness. Why should I say? If I say it, it means, I am claiming that I am a teacher. Why don't you listen to me? Why should I say it? This is not my job. This is the job of the cops. You live into that state, my friends. That is the journey. If someone is crazy, what I have to do with it? I'm consciousness. That is the beauty of this journey. Close your eyes. Eyes are closed. Eyes are closed. Again, instantly, logic. Instructions are logic. And what is your subjective experience? You are comfortable. But how? Again, the logic. Again, you are putting the logic, yes. So my knowledge says that I closed my eyes. It is a symbolic to the mind to know, to understand. What to understand? That sense organ cannot find. What cannot find? Cannot find the real self. So my mind, if it goes outside, it goes outside only on the objects that I have perceived. Are you getting it? So you are simply aware. So what happens in that awareness? You are not only comfortable, you are not only carefree, you are consciousness, you recognize it. I'm just going into the very highest level of a seeking, as if you are the highest level of a seeker, so that you understand the journey. It's better to go to the highest level first, and then we can come down. Again, I'm saying, and pick up this idea. What I said, close your eyes. Now see the instruction. You extract the knowledge and move into an awareness. Then what I say, that be comfortable. So my knowledge says being comfortable is at ease, and my mind explains me that I should adjust and align the body so that I don't feel unease, stretching, etc., etc. At the same time, you have an experience. It takes time, my friends, I tell you, it takes time. If you have an extraordinary ability since birth, then you are already awakened since birth, but otherwise it takes time. So the knowledge plus your awareness, your cognition, knowledge and experience, logic and experience go together. I'm comfortable, but now I understand what it means by being comfortable. Do you know that? Can you make out? You feel that you have a separation from the body. Why? Body continues to move. It is still moving. Blood, cell, more than 1 million cells die every second, and next million cells are replaced by it. But you are none of them. You are not a changing identity. In between the changing identity, there is an awareness which causes the body to be in the state of stillness. It is the stillness in the body. It is not the stillness of the body. It is the space inside and outside your room. It is not the space of the room. Do you see the false? Do you see the delusion? We always talk, I have 20 by 20 room, living room, as if this room contains the space. No, space is the container. I'm giving the instructions based on the last verse of this chapter by this master. Still, we have to cover 100 verses. And then go to the being carefree again. So we have extract the knowledge plus your awareness. So I see the thoughts are coming and going. Where they are coming and going? Into the mind. If the mind, say for example, if the mind does not have a single thought even for 24 hours, forget about 24 hours. Even a single thought is not there for an hour, you will go insane. I can bet you. So what is the false notion? I have to control all my thoughts and feeling and sensations. They are also thought. When you feel emotion or sensation, it is in the terms of the thought. Then only I will go into a meditative state. One aspect, one way to understand. Second way, I am not the thought. I am not the mind. Highest level of experience or awareness is that I'm none of these thoughts. Let the thought come and go. Who cares? But as a seeker, I care. If thoughts are crazy, it will the real self. Two factors of ignorance we have done. It will veil the real self and it will project that I'm the body and the mind. That's why I'm crazy. That's why my mind is crazy. Do you see that, my friends? It is so easy and simple. But we have understood during the journey, during the practice, and if we do not practice regularly, Master says consistent, regular study, recognition, understanding, and experience. Is there any need to give any instructions? Why there is no need? There is a firm conviction I am consciousness. Hence I am conscious of the thoughts that are coming and going. Hence I am aware of the body. Hence I am aware of the experiences in the body. I am conscious of the body. The first step is taken wrongly, and then delusion has no limit. I have a pain in the body. Delusion has no limit. I am consciousness. Therefore, I am conscious of an entity known as the body, made up of the five elements, which is inert. It does not have a power to know itself. It does not have a power to know others. Knowledge plus subjective experience at the same time. I am man, subjective experience based on the definition of the science. Who is a man and who is a woman? I am using the same logic, my friends. Another point, I told you that I'm talking of the almost the last 2 or 3 verses of this chapter from the text of this master. When there is a conviction I am consciousness and which is all pervading, means what? There is no space left where the consciousness is not. So can there be any change in movement in the consciousness? No. And that is recognized, that keeps your body steady and motionless. That leaves you carefree. That leaves you that I'm totally independent of the mind. Mind? Oh, it is coming from the past impression. I'll take care of you. But you are not upset. You are not entering into any kind of conflict and duality, etc. That is why your body remains motionless. There is no space left. There is no space left, yes. Why? I am consciousness. And there is always a space when I'm the body, I'm the mind, I'm the intellect, I'm the emotions, I'm the ego. See that? You shifted your position. You shifted your understanding that it is not the way you see it is a mirage. Water is not there. The way you see I is not there. With reference to the body, sense organs, the mind, intellect, ego, craziness, anxiety, duality, delusion. Why unconsciousness? Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Bring your mind on the right hand, your mind on the left hand. Lift your both the hands, place it on awareness, and bring your, just know your experiences. Bring the hands down. We'll share our experiences. If you have any question, you are welcome. How are you, David and Jerry?
Namaste. Thank you. Thank you. That was a really, um, really amazing lesson. And going into my meditation, the when you focus on your consciousness, and you said there's no space left over, it just took over my whole being. So it was a very consciousness meditation because of that, and I wasn't attached to any thoughts. I wasn't attached to any pain. I wasn't attached to anything else other than just being consciousness.
Beautiful. That the way it should be. Beautiful. How are you, Jerry?
Sir, I'm good, thank you. Yeah, totally absorbed. I am consciousness,
I'm
and
conscious.
the mind knows that I'm consciousness.
Yeah.
So without consciousness, there's no mind.
There is no mind. Yes. Once we are there, there is nothing that can ever disturb you, can delude you. Beautiful, beautiful experience. How are you, Dennis?
I'm fine, and a lot of deep thoughts in today's lesson. Some of which I wrote down for further contemplation. This contributing is not an obligation; it is an opportunity to tame the ego. Logic is incomplete without experience, and experience is false without reasoning.
Beautiful.
I am consciousness, therefore I am conscious, not vice versa. And even arguing about this proves that I am consciousness. And the last one that I like the most is that there is no place where consciousness is not, therefore space is the consciousness, and the consciousness is space.
Beautiful. Your mind was saturated with these thoughts. You were contemplating into the meditation, and that we need to contemplate. We need to contemplate even in the meditation, because it removes your doubts, it removes the delusion, and it keeps you into that state. Maybe you can just translate this to our Guruji. We have a Guruji in Ukraine also. So we always say out of love, Guruji. How are you, Stephen and Sam?
Thank you. Similar to Dennis, the lesson sent me into a place of contemplation. And several things that stood out for me was the contribution part. And when we talked about contribution, I kept saying to myself, it's contribution without expectation. And then went a little bit deeper with that, because expectation is the drive of the ego. And so I continued down the path of then reflecting on moments throughout the week to where I allowed. Sorry. There's a fire.
Okay. Beautiful.
Okay.
What is, yes, what you said, not flyer, but what you said, contemplation and reflection should continue. Why? Because the mind constantly lives in delusion. Yes, I recall. Ego is built on consumership. Let me rephrase it. That is how I rephrase it. The moment I am a consumer or I have an ego, they both go together. Ego cannot be built without the things outside. And it cannot be killed or transformed without being a contributor. If you are not a contributor, I gave an example. That's why, I was just contemplating, and it came to my mind early in the morning. Elon Musk, he's contributing. Why he's so famous? Why he has a lot of money? Why don't you have a lot of money? Why you keep asking that you have to pay us? You can ask me that question. I will answer that later. How are you, Sam? Namaste.
My meditation was very peaceful. I'm finding it's easier to sit in the meditation position for longer. My body seems a little bit more aligned. I was thinking about something you said about the pot space, and there's a hot topic that we talk about, which is inclusion for kids, for adults, and when you talk about ego in these spaces, right? I think about a store or a bar. Right?
Yeah.
Somebody puts their name on a bar. This is Steven's bar, and he won't let me in because I'm not 21 years old.
Yeah.
That's his ego, or that's an ego representation of America.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
an open space that he put wood around, and he owns a bar, and he won't let me in because he doesn't like me, or because I don't pay him money, or because I'm not rich enough, or because I'm not nice enough.
Yeah.
And if you take those barriers down, all it is just space. That's all we had. We didn't have money. We didn't have space. We had the ability to survive we have the resources to survive, right? Off of very little. We have the right amount of food. We have the right amount of everything as a society. But we argue over whose space is whose, right? What's going on in Israel? Whose space is whose time is whose. All of these things are all egotistical arguments whereby if we all just put the barriers down of I need to pay you, I need to like you, I need to do X, I need to do Y, we're all just here sharing the same space, sharing the same earth, and that's it. And there should be no problem. But there is.
Beautiful explanation, beautiful contemplation and reflection. You need to listen to this audio, especially your part, what you spoke. That is a modern way of explaining, or American way of explaining, That's a beautiful. That's why you cited an example of a bar. Do you go to the bar? No, I will not. Don't answer me. How are you, Terry?
Just a second.
Yeah. Beautiful. Sam is changing now. But you have to contemplate. Do not stop there.
Very interesting.
Very
What
interesting.
he said.
Yeah.
Very, very interesting.
Very interesting.
But
Yeah.
during the meditation, I had a deep experience of eternity.
Beautiful.
But the space between myself and also I didn't realize that was Stephen until you said it. I thought, oh, that must be some friend of Sam.
Oh.
And you said, and I was like, oh my God, that's Stephen, but he's in a different space.
Terry, you rightly said, sometimes what happens, and it is okay. It has nothing to do with dementia or loss of memory. Sometimes, there is a fraction of a millisecond of a gap to recognize the name of the people when I'm even doing the session. But that is okay, because you are living into that consciousness. It's okay. So don't think that it has to do with the loss of memory.
Oh, no, not at all.
Yeah, you wait and it returns to you. Here is David, here is Stephen, and here is this. And for example, even if you don't recall, what is the best way? Address him as your friend. Forget about it. Continue to live into that state.
He was out of contact.
Yes. So, because you are already intoxicated with that consciousness which you don't want to miss.
Yeah.
What is the fun of remembering the names and the phone number? How are you, my love?
Thank you, sir. The mind was calm. It was absorbed very easily. It was totally peaceful.
Peaceful, beautiful. calm, absorbed in peace. Beautiful. How are you, Ashok?
Sir, I am good, and meditation was also very good. Thank you so much.
Very good. Thank you. So, my friend Stephen, you can invite your friends. Casey just texted me. She organized this seminar, so she texted me whether so her friends are coming or not, we don't know, but we will have this seminar anyhow. Once we decided, we will have it. That is all for today. Thank you very much. We will.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Namaste.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Namaste, everyone.
Namaste.
Namaste.